It's the battle of the truck bed campers. We have the luxury option versus the more affordable option. Both fully capable, but they each have their own strengths and weaknesses. Today we're going to break them down and let you decide which one you would want for your next adventure.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Kevin, and this is Wyatt. We've been traveling in our self-converted Sprinter van on and off for the last 4 years. And we're here with our friends Greg and Jess, who's been traveling in their van since 2018 full-time.
We recently both just sold our vans in search of a new adventure. Greg and Jess purchased this light truck bed camper that they put on their everyday driver, while we are demoing this luxury beast to see if it is a good fit for our family.
All right, Greg, Jess, Lupe.
Dame's all here.
What are we working with here?
We are working with the Tune Outdoor M1 camper on the 2023 Chevy Colorado ZR2.
And what made you get this from the van? So you guys were in the ProMaster for 5 years, 2 ProMasters over the course of 5 years-ish.
Yeah, so we were just essentially looking to transition to part-time travel, and we have a home base in southwestern Colorado now, and we wanted a part-time travel rig that would get us further into the backcountry. It was a little bit more capable on off-road, back roads, I guess. And so the truck camper was kind of the only solution.
While allowing us to do truck things on the homestead.
So what does something like this run then?
So ZR2s are going for around 50,000 and up. I think ours came in right around 53,000. And then the Tune M1 camper starts at about 15. They have options that you can do all kinds of accessories to build it out. We went with a fairly base level, so right around 15,000.
Okay, so all in we're at like
68-ish.
68-ish? Okay. So that might not be the most budget friendly in terms of cheap. This is definitely a high-end light truck, and it's a high-end truck camper. It's actually one of the heavier models, right, in terms of the design?
The lightweight segment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say they're the largest of the lightweight segment.
So budget is a relative term, but we think compared to something like this that we are testing out right now, this is definitely on the more affordable side for the average middle-class American compared to what we're about to explain, which is close to $500,000. So what do we got inside this guy?
All right, so inside the back we have all of our gear, fridge and whatnot, and then going up in there we have a king-size bed. There is LED lighting around the outside of the upper section, our max fan, and 6 windows.
This is actually quite high in here. I'm 6'1", and what is this, like?
Probably 6'8"-ish.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, I never measured. Plenty high.
Plenty high. I'm standing completely up. Plenty of room. And this is a big bed. And for the luxury vehicle, we have been demoing this over the last 10 days. And this is the Storyteller Overland Hilt Expedition vehicle built on the Ram 5500 chassis and has a GVWR of 19,000 pounds. So this thing is a beast and has a lot of off-road capabilities as well as a really big livable space. As you come into the camper, we have an RV queen-size bed in the front here, which sits over the cab. A full-size shower and wet bath, so there's a toilet in there as well. We have a microwave convection oven combo. I think there's an air fryer too. A big fridge, freezer. We have a lounge area in the back here that also converts into a queen-size bed. Plenty of storage above, and a really big kitchen counter area with a deep sink and a 2-burner stovetop. So you get a ton of amenities here, but for the price of a home. This thing is currently priced at $446,000, which, depending on where you live, might be more expensive than homes in your area.
Although the sense of adventure in both rigs is quite similar, the actual camping experience can be vastly different.
So I think for the next step, we're going to talk about different categories to compare against the light truck camper versus the heavy truck camper, also known as the Big Booty Judy. First up is off-road capability, which I think Greg and Jess definitely win in this category because we've been traveling in southern Colorado the past 10 days and we've been going on some pretty gnarly terrain, and it's nice that Greg and Jess could be our scout, test out the area, scope it out for height or width, and make sure we can fit before getting ourselves into some trouble, because this is not our rig and we do not want to get this thing in a bad situation.
So this is the 2023 Chevy Colorado's new model year, the ZR2 trim package. So it comes with 33-inch tires. There's a 3-inch lift from the factory, DSSV multimatic shocks, so fancy suspension, and front and rear electronic locking differentials. So it goes more places than I would feel comfortable taking it.
And for us, we don't have the locking differentials, but we do have some benefits where we can increase the height or decrease the height of the rig with the liquid suspension. We have the 41-inch multi-purpose tires, which has huge treads, so hopefully we'll be able to get through or over anything. And then we also have a comfort ride customization, different drive modes, which is sport, normal, and comfort. So when we're on those washboard terrain, we are driving pretty comfortably.
And you got a winch.
Yes, on the bumper, which is rated for like 19,000 pounds or something. So if we needed to self-recover, we can hopefully, because there's not too many vehicles that are going to be able to get us out of a sticky situation.
And if I go ahead and get stuck,
we can come
you
around
can just
the
drag
corner
me out of there.
and hook up and just pull them right out of there. So it's kind of like a perfect team, I would say.
We're a perfect team.
We are.
Oh.
I'm not too thrilled to say this, but there are other areas where Greg is going to win as well. One obvious one, in my opinion, is the miles per gallon. So you probably get what?
We are averaging about 16 to 18 miles per gallon with the camper on.
And we are about 10. And if we're fully loaded with 120 gallons of water and a full gray tank, I'm sure that number is going to drop a little bit there. So that's one. Two would be maneuverability, right?
Yeah, I think I fit in the parking spot better.
Just a little bit. We do not fit in a normal size parking spot. So if we're going to the grocery store to fill up, we need to be strategic on where we park. And then third, this is your daily driver and could be for most people, obviously, where I think our rig is more for full-time living. You're not going to be taking this to the grocery store for a 15-minute drive from your home. Which
I would hope not.
I mean, maybe you can if you're Jeff Bezos or something, but I don't think so for the average guy.
All right, now that the boys are done talking about that boring spec stuff, let's talk about where the storyteller takes off, and I think it is in amenities.
Do you mind?
The first thing we're going to talk about is the difference in bathrooms. Although Greg and Jess don't have a lot of privacy when using the restroom, they do have pretty good views.
Yeah, so we've tried a bunch of different ways, and the bucket ends up being the simplest, most minimal way for us to go to the bathroom. The reality of living in a truck camper is that everything basically happens outside, including going to the bathroom. Like Taylor said, if there's not a lot of privacy, we do have a pop-up privacy tent that we can use. But out here, poo with a view is the way to go.
In terms of going to the bathroom in the Hilt, we may not have a view like Greg and Jess, but we do have a few perks of our own, like this flushable toilet, a sink where we can properly wash our hands when we're done, and a safe place to do our business if it's raining. In addition to the toilet and the sink, we also have a shower with pretty much on-demand hot water and enough space in here that we could maybe actually both shower in here at the same time. So guys, tell us about your showers. Is it as nice as your poo with a view?
Well, we might not often shower, but when we do, we've been using a little portable hot water heater. It is just plug in some water from the stream or wherever into the cold water, and out comes hot with some propane.
We've been camping with them in the mountains, and they literally got water right from the river and used that to heat it up and then shower. So it was actually quite impressive, honestly, and they don't have to use their drinking water, which is a nice feature as well, because technically they could shower every single day without worrying of running out of water.
How much water can you use per shower? Is this like, if you hooked up like 8 gallons, could you use 8 gallons?
Yeah.
Oh,
Whenever
it would warm
tank
it all?
you dunk the pump into, it'll, so like our little bucket's probably 2.5 gallons, and that's plenty, but
If we threw it in a 50-gallon tank,
Could you
Wow.
connect it to the river and just
I mean,
wouldn't probably be warm enough.
wouldn't
the
heat
source,
fast enough?
yeah, the source water's so cold in that river that it would probably only get it up to 40 degrees above that.
Yeah,
so if you pull river water, you got to recirculate a little bit to get it hot enough. But yeah,
80 degrees isn't that bad though if on a hot day.
true. True.
In terms of kitchen space, this rig has everything you need to make a perfect home-cooked meal, including this large sink with 2 faucets with filtered water, an induction stovetop with 2 burners, a microwave / convection oven / air fryer, which I'm still learning, a large fridge, and even a freezer. In terms of food storage, in addition to the fridge and the freezer, there is also quite a bit of storage up top where we are storing all of the dry goods.
So everything in our kitchen is very portable, modular, compact. Obviously we don't have a ton of space in here, so we have a single burner butane cooktop that we set out here on the tailgate, and we basically just use this tailgate as a meal prep station, cook station, plating station, serving station. Sometimes we even just stand and eat here. So it's really simple, really basic, really minimalist. I mean, the reality is that we're just like,
Very versatile.
I mean, is it though?
I mean, it's everything.
Yeah, it's like camping, but we're living out of a truck. And so we try to keep it really simple as far as our meals go, because I don't really want to spend a ton of time like cooking at the tailgate. And we have a 1 burner, so everything takes a long time if we have a long like processed meal to make, because I can only do one thing at a time. So ultimately, like for us, it works, but it has been a change from the van, because in the van it was a more traditional kitchen and I would make more complex meals, whereas now it's much more simplified. And sometimes I even pre-make meals at home ahead of time so that I can just reheat them, because I know that it's kind of a more difficult process cooking off the tailgate.
But your style of adventure has changed from full-time to more adventure-based. So when you're going out on adventures, the whole purpose of going out is to be outdoors anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it works for us because I think we've shifted and we've decided to make that sacrifice in order to do the things that we want to do, and we're totally fine with it.
Are you ever the chef, Greg, or
Am I over the chef?
are you ever the chef?
Yeah. I'm trying to think when. I make some stuff.
What's your specialty?
What's my specialty?
Getting the tripod level?
I got pretty close. And then I spun it.
You make breakfast sometimes.
I make breakfast sometimes.
All right.
Have stuff going on.
To be fair, Taylor is mainly the cook in our household as well. I am strictly eggs, acai bowls, and cereal. So I have no room to talk.
I can make cereal.
All right, high five again.
2 of those 3 things are actually cooking, Kev. Just P.S.
Arguably one. The acai bowl is.
Oh yeah, true. That's not even cooking.
Another thing I'm curious about is your food storage situation in this.
So we have a IceCo fridge here. It's kind of a chest style fridge. We can hold probably about 4 to 5 days worth of food in here. We also carry action packers, which are a durable plastic bin, which helps with rodent prevention, and it just keeps our food from getting crushed in the back of the truck. So we have one of those full of dry goods, and that again is probably about 4 or 5 days worth of food storage.
So you only have to provision every 3 to 4 days.
Yeah,
Or 4 to 5 days.
if we plan right. Yeah, usually I forget something and we end up at the store, but yeah.
That's fair. And then for water, you have the.
For water, we use a 7-gallon jerry can style water storage, and it's a modular system, so we only have one with us right now, but we can carry up to 3 or 4 with us depending on the trip. And for example, in Baja, we'll carry probably 3 full ones, just so that we make sure we have plenty for drinking on the beach or extended times without provisioning.
Since you carry only 7 gallons of water, or water based on the length of your trip, how do you work to conserve it?
I think we just have a much more minimal approach to doing dishes. We utilize Lupe quite often, actually, to lick our plates and bowls. It's changed the game as far as doing dishes goes. We've only had her for about a year. But prior to that, we would typically just wipe everything down with a paper towel, use a little water, wipe it down again, and then you're done. So we do really, try to conserve as much water as possible, just because we like to preserve it for drinking if we can.
We don't really wash our dishes in the same fashion over there in the Hilt, but we have 120 gallons of water, so to say that we're not as minimal or as conservative on our water would be a true statement.
Well, we are getting rained on now, so
Quick intermission.
quick intermission right now. But we have 2 remaining categories: how we power our rigs, and then also the sleeping arrangements for each. which we kind of hit on a little bit in Greg's setup. Speaking of power, my phone is about to die, so let me plug it into one of the many outlets here in this rig. We have 1,300 plus, I think 1,320 watts of solar on the roof. And we have a massive battery bank, which is 16.2 kilowatts of power, which if you're gonna equate that to a 12 volt system, I think it's like 1,400 amp hours. So it's really, really big. If we are parked in an area that is not covered with trees and we can get some sun, we can basically leave everything on 24/7, like the Starlink or the inverters, which in our previous vans, we had to be very conscious of our power consumption. So for power, we're running 2 power stations do we have?
Yeah, so you know, you can do whatever you really want in a tune, but we are just using what we had around, and there's a bunch of stuff plugged into it right now.
That's good, real life example.
But we have a 700 watt hour Blue Eddy, and then I think that's like 500 watt hour PowerWorks, just some random power station we were set to use. And we're charging them with a 200 watt Blue Eddy solar panel. So realistically, for what we're doing, we're only charging devices, running the fan and running the fridge. So we don't need much. We only have the 2 because we need one bigger one, but we don't have one bigger one. So if anybody wants to send a 1,500 watt hour battery station, let us know. But yeah, that's it. We just have a couple things we plug in and don't use much juice at all. So as long as we're not running the Starlink all the time, we're set for days with this.
And you also can charge via the truck too when you're
so the truck has a AC outlet back here. So when we're driving, we plug this one in, and then it has the fridge plugged into it. So that's always going while we're driving. This is charging. And then we plug that in the back seat and charge that while we're driving. So if we're gonna drive, we can top off. If we're not, solar panel. And realistically, if we have no sun and no driving, we probably could get 2 to 3 days out of these if we conserve.
So I think the common theme throughout Greg and Jess's rig is that it's completely modular and it's customized for the specific trip, for the specific adventure. If they need more water, they can bring it. If they need more power stations or batteries, they can bring it, more solar. So it's completely modular for the adventure that they're going on.
And then when we get home, we can just take it all out of here and we have a pickup truck again.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Which is nice.
Now that the crappy weather just passed, I think it's interesting to figure out what they do when the crappy weather hits and they're not with a big rig where we can all kind of get under the awning.
Yeah, so overall living space is obviously much less significant than in the Hilt. We essentially have a 2 foot by 2 foot square foot area of actual usable living space, which can be consumed by one person. So generally you're taking turns to either get ready in the morning or get ready for bed at night, while the other person is either outside waiting or up in the bed. And I mean, it is a large bed, so at least we have that going for us. On rainy afternoons or something, we would probably just get Lupe up there and turn on the tablet and watch a TV show or movie or something and kind of veg out, because we don't really have like a table per se to like play card games or get work done or anything like that. It's basically hang out down here or hang out up in the bed.
And to be fair, that was kind of our lifestyle in the van as well, because when we were in Baja for a while, it actually rained this winter. So we don't really like to deconstruct why it's
Crib if we're staying somewhere.
And we only had a platform bed in the back. So, I mean,
very similar.
Yeah, really. But in the Hilt, this is definitely where it shines. You can't really beat the livable space for this adventure rig. It's basically the same size as like a Class C, but we can go anywhere we want with our off-road capabilities. In the front here, we have an RV queen size bed. Taylor already showed you the shower and the kitchen. But back here, we have a large dining area, so when little man goes to sleep before mom and dad do, we can hang out back here and not disturb him, which is really, really nice and something we couldn't really do in the van too well. This also converts into a secondary queen bed, so we can technically sleep 4 adults in here pretty comfortably.
Well, we think this wins from a livability and comfort standpoint, but let us know in the comments below which one is right for you. Would you guys go Storyteller Hilt or light truck bed camper?
So I think we can compare these rigs to the nth degree, but we wanted to just do a high-level overview of the differences between the two. And if you want to see more adventures of what it's like to continue exploring and adventuring in a light truck camper, then check out Greg and Jess's channel over at Drifter Journey. We are still on the hunt for our rig, our next rig. This might be a big contender, but it might be a little bit out of our price range. So time will tell what we end up with, but yeah, hopefully you got something out of this, and thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one.